Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of making a remix. We're working with the stems from Adre's latest release called Addicto. And I've got the project up here in the last video. I'll put a link right down in the description, but in the last video, we did the tempo mapping, we brought in the stems, and we found out the original chord progression and the key. So we're working in what looks to be B minor. And I mean, typically the first chord or the very first note in your chord progression is going to give you a hint as to where you are. With this type of song, because of the feel of it, I can already tell that it's in a minor key. So our first note is a B, and then we go probably B, D, and F sharp. So that's going to be B minor. And like when you play it out, it sounds a little bit like this. So that's definitely the first chord. And it looks like we've got an inverted G chord with G at the top. So that second inversion of G is our second chord. So we're going to go from the B to the G. That's I did first inversion or root of the G, so I got to switch that around. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to take the G, where I was playing that chord there, the G chord, which was G, B, and D. Now I got to take the G to the top as you're showing up here. So it's going to be B, D with G at the top, right? Which makes it actually easier to play, because if you're doing the chord progression where you go B to G with the F sharp like this, see, that sounds really nice. Build some tension already. It sounds very sad, right? Okay, and then looks like we've got, what are the notes there? A, D, and F sharp, which is first inversion of a D chord. All right, so we're going to start with the A right there, D, and F sharp. Sounds very nice. And then we finish with, looks like A minor chord. Or, no, A major, A, C sharp, E. So when we put it all together, let's see if I can play it. And I'm really rusty with the keys. So I like the way that sounds. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute my MIDI regions. And I'm going to try to play the chords along with what the artist is singing. And it's going to be a little embarrassing because I'm not great at this, but I want to get a vibe for the song.
Yo me levanto cada día a medianoche, pensando si estás despierta a las 12. A ver si yo le mando un mensaje, que yo te quiero ver sin molestarte. Desde el día que te conocí, sabía que tú eres para mí. Se me sube la depresión cuando yo no te tengo. Adicto, adicto a esa mujer, adicto de su cara y sus ojos, su sonrisa y el color de su piel. Yo me levanto cada día
Yeah. Really rough, guys. Really rough. I gotta try it a little bit more because I know I can get it down. And the reason why I really want to try to get these chords down is because as I start to swap out instruments, rather than clicking on it and playing back, I'm gonna pull up my thing here and let's just grab a piano. I want to see what it sounds like with the piano. There's a nice sounding piano. So we're doing B, and then the G, up to the D, and then an A, inversion, which is a really tough inversion for me for some reason. All right, I really like the way that sounds. So we can addition it back here, and we can see. I'll just unmute those regions.
Desde el día que te conocí, sabía que tú eres para mí. Se me sube la depresión cuando yo no te tengo adicto.
So,
adicto a esa mujer, adicto de su cara y sus ojos, su sonrisa y el color de su. Yo me levanto cada día a medianoche, pensando si ella está despierta a las 12. A ver si yo le mando un mensaje, que yo te quiero ver sin molestarte. Desde el día que te conocí, sabía.
Cool. Those sound really good. So now what I'm going to do, I'm super worried that my mic is going to feedback. So I got to turn it down a little bit here. There we go. That should be okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to play in, I'm going to duplicate this track, and I'm going to play in some bass piano notes, just because I want to get a feel for what the low end sounds like as well. All right, so we're just gonna switch the recording here.
Yo me levanto cada día a medianoche, pensando si estás despierta a las 12. A ver si yo le mando un mensaje, que yo te quiero ver sin molestarte. Desde el día que te conocí, sabía que tú eres para mí. Se me sube la depresión cuando yo no te tengo adicto. Adicto a esa mujer, adicto de su cara y sus ojos, su sonrisa y el color de su. Yo me levanto cada día a medianoche, pensando si ella está despierta a las 12. A ver si yo le mando un mensaje, que yo te quiero ver sin molestarte.
And that should be enough for the bass, right? Like, here's the thing. I should probably explain a little bit more about what it is that I'm doing. And that was a really lousy recording, so I'm going to do it again. Bear with me, guys. I'm essentially trying to find bass notes in the piano that work along with what's being sung. And I mean, you don't have to do it this way, but I was taught that if it sounds good on a piano, it's going to sound good anywhere else. And sometimes what I like to do is, like, I will keep the piano portions that I use to audition. And when I'm done the whole remix and everything like that, I'll like bounce it out and I'll do like a candlelight version, you know? That used to be popular with like DJ Sammy and like Cascada and stuff like that. So I find like Chainsmokers do that a little bit sometimes too. Anyway, so I typically audition anything that I want in piano, and I'm just going to rename this to bass notes. Bass notes. And we're going to record that because I played it so loud. Now, I know that I like the cadence. That's a little bit of a dance hall cadence, what I was doing, right? I was going... That 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 is very similar to what you would get in a dance hall like drum pattern, because it might go bop, 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 you know? And so I'm playing the bass with that because it's just kind of, it seems to sit really well. And it's not surprising because the original producer is a dance hall artist. So there you have it.
Yo me levanto cada día a medianoche, pensando si ella está despierta a las 12. A ver si yo le mando un mensaje, que yo te quiero ver sin molestarte. Desde el día que te conocí, sabía que tú eres para mí. Se me sube la depresión cuando yo no te tengo.
Again, a lousy recording because I can't hear myself. You know what? I gotta put on the metronome and let's try that again.
Yo me levanto cada día a medianoche, pensando si ella está despierta a las 12. A ver si yo le mando un mensaje, que yo te quiero ver sin molestarte. Desde el día que te conocí, sabía que tú eres para mí. Se me sube la depresión cuando yo no te tengo ahí.
That's literally all I need is those two bars, right? So I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to use a quick key to just kind of quantize. So quantize is making sure that they all snap to grid. So you see that first note there? It's not exactly on line. Here, I'll zoom in. All right, it's not exactly on line. So if I hit Command U on a Mac or, shoot, I don't even know what that is on a Windows computer. I'm gonna have to look that up, what it is on the Windows computer. But I can see now that my timing is gonna be good. And you hear how this one sounded a lot better, not as cold as this one, and that's because it came in 2 beats before, or 2 little 16ths before the actual 4th beat, which is the true dancehall style. So I'm gonna mimic that with that one there. Just a small correction, and I'm gonna copy and make sure that it goes up there, and make sure that it goes up there. Get rid of this bad boy here. So Vex sometimes calls me the MIDI assassin. It's true. I like to use MIDI because I'm not great with the keyboard. I just never practiced it enough. But now we can hear our bass notes. And I wonder if it wouldn't be better if we dragged it out there. Swing it or swing it? No, not that way. Although the skippity is nice, I still... Yeah, I still want it like that. So I'm just going to keep the cadence away. Keep the cadence everywhere. Alright, now because I like the way that that's sounding, let's change the bass to like a massive patch. So I like to use massive for the sub bass. It seems to come across a lot warmer. So to do that, I want a sine square, and change this sine. So that's little dial here. We want it to be all sine. And now if we listen to the bass, but it's not low, right? This is where you make the call. Do you want to do it in the plugin? Do you want to do it in the MIDI? Because I don't feel like dragging stuff around in the piano roll in the MIDI, so I'm just going to drag down the pitch right there. Alright, that's really nice. Now I want to bring in a little bit of distortion, so I'm going to add in a tube, just the classic tube. And I'll play the solo bass so you can hear what it does there. Whoops. Yeah. So as we bring it in, and then we also want to adjust the envelope, and we want to make sure that the voicing is mono. So when you're using a bass, you want to make sure it's mono. That helps you in the mixing in the long run. Mono's got to be right there, dead center, right? I'm going to bring a little square in. Too much, just subtle. Now you hear that clicking at the beginning. I want to get rid of that because a bass is not going to have that, or it's going to start interfering with our kick drum when we bring a kick drum in. So I'm going to just adjust the attack on the waveform and get rid of that click. Nice. Okay, so I'm really happy with that, and I'm going to just do a couple quick things just to kind of make myself comfortable with what's going to happen there. Oops, that's the wrong EQ. So our sub is supposed to act in the lower portion of the spectrum. And the Ableton EQ is really nice because it has the spectrum analyzer. I mean, FabFilter does it too. I think there's a Waves plugin that does it now. I just like this because I mean it's low on memory. So look, we got a nice peak there, and if I just move it where that peak is, it'll tell me that like the bulk of my bass is sitting between like 40, 45, and 70 hertz, which means that anything below like 30 hertz is probably going to be garbage. So I'm just going to get rid of it. This is going to allow, when we bounce this down to MP3 and stuff like that, it's going to allow us to have a lot more headroom. And I'm also going to do a quick roll off here in the higher end. Because we don't need any of this. So that's good. Now that top note, for some reason, doesn't sound as loud as the other bass notes. So this is what happens with the dynamics of bass. And to do that, what we need to do is we need to reduce the dynamic range of what's being played. So all these three sets of notes here, you know, they're nice and loud, but then when it plays back this one, for some reason to the ear it seems to get quieter. I'll play it again so you can see. Like it's there, but it just doesn't have the oomph. So to fix this, we can use a little bit of a compression technique. I'm going to start with OTT, and Transfer Records OTT is a free plugin, and I highly recommend it. And it's going to start getting blown out here once I play this back. But even already, when I added that plugin, you can see that it kind of evened things out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the depth, and I'm going to change some of the downward and upward to see if I can get a little bit more oomph out of it, but not be too squished. And basically what I was trying to do is I was trying to listen for similarities between this and this. Like, it's subtle, but over the long and short of it, like, and I'm also watching my meter. Now they're like bang on the same. And here, I'll just do a bypass to show you what OTT is doing. I'll just take it off here. So you're like, ooh, that's louder. But actually, this one is better because it's more even across the spectrum. If I want it to be louder, I can do that later in the mix, and that's going to be in part 3 of the video. But now I have a nice bass sound to work with, and as I bring in the chords, probably reduce that a little bit, and bring in the vocals.
Me levanto cada día a medianoche, pensando si estás despierta a las 12. A ver si yo le mando un mensaje, que yo te quiero ver sin molestarte. Desde el día que te conocí, sabía que tú eres para mí. Se me sube la depresión cuando yo no te estoy adicto a esa mujer, adicto de...
Sweet. So I'm happy with that, right? Those are the building blocks of my remix. I've got a bass, I've got the chords, I've got the chord progression. I'm essentially going to start finding some other things that I like that go along with it. And what I mean by that is like ear candy. At the beginning of the track, the original track, they've got some ear candy going in there. So the chord, and then there's like a do do do. I'll show you what I mean.
Yo me levanto cada día a medianoche, pensando si estás despierta a las 12. A ver si yo le mando un...
It's probably just hammering on the B. He's hammering on the A. Oh, what is that? the fields of barley. Yeah, that's totally what that is. I really like that, actually. In fact, I might even use that little riff as a drop. So by already hearing some of the influences that we've got the chord progression, we've got the little bit of ear candy, and I just embellished off of it. So I found the main note that he was playing in that intro, which was an A. And then I just built a riff around it in the same key, right? Which starts way up here at the D, C sharp, B, A. Right. So let's just kind of go somewhere else over here, further on in the track. And we don't need the vocals right now. We're just going to bring in the chords. I'm going to keep the vocals muted. Yeah. Nice. And we'll bring some bass in. And I like to start things off by just getting a little bit of a kick drum going on. So here's a good place to decide whether or not I'm going to do samples or if I'm going to use the simpler to trigger it. So I like doing the simpler in Ableton. So what I mean by that is this. So if I go and I grab a kick, any kick will do. Let's just go down to by the way, excellent sound. You might want to check them out. They've got amazing stuff. I don't want something too hard just yet because of the type of track it is. So what I mean by samples versus simpler. So samples would be to click and drag the sample in and start programming your drums like this. That is definitely one way to do it. I find that depending on the type of computer that you have, this is hard to do. But, I mean, I got a kick drum pattern right there. The alternative way to do that is if I go and I grab the simpler, then it's under instruments. Just grab a simpler, drag it into this gray space here, right? And it's going to create a track for me. It's going to put the instrument right there. And now I can go back into my producer kits. I'm going to grab that kick, for example. That kick's going to go in there. It's not going to play anything, right? I'm just going to mute that. I'll delete that. Mute it, not delete it, not mute it, sorry. And I'm going to just program in MIDI this time. So if you don't have a MIDI keyboard, that's cool. You want to find where it is, probably on C3. Yeah, that's where the original pitch of the kick was. And then you just duplicate it for one on every beat. And that's 4 to the floor. Sorry, we want it one on every beat, not on every. I like it. And then we just duplicate those regions. Okay. What's nice about this is because I find it a lot faster to work, because then if I duplicate this track, now I've already got MIDI programmed in, I've already got a simpler, and let's say I want to add some snares or some claps. I go grab a clap. There. And all I have to do is change my MIDI. So I know that I want the clap on every second beat, so that's going to be on beat 2 and beat 4. Get rid of that guy, get rid of that guy. And now I can get rid of this and this and this. and duplicate it across, and I have now got a 4-to-the-floor drum pattern. Which is just perfect for what I want to do. Now I'm going to play around with that idea. So I'm going to go back and start playing around, noodling around on those piano. Whoops, wrong note. That's really nice, really, really, really nice. So we've got that nice sub bass, but I'm going to change it up because this is going to be a little bit more of a drop. So I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to come back to that riff in a second. And I'm just going to change, I want my sub bass, I'm going to rename my sub bass track. And in the drop, typically what we want is we want our sub bass to extend past our kick drum. So I want it all one note. And then what we'll do is we'll end up side chaining that. So I'm just going to mute that, and I'm going to play this. I'm going to play the sub bass, and only the sub bass and the kick and clap. Sweet. So now I'm going to add the side chain. And you can do this with the Ableton compressor. It's really, really fast. Just grab the compressor, throw it down here. And all I want to do, make sure you name your tracks, guys. Oh my gosh. I am setting a bad example. So now I know where my kick and my clap is. Sweet. So that's sub bass. I want it to side chain. So just expand it right here, hit side chain, and select kick. There's my kick right there. So now you can see it coming in here on the threshold. Sweet. Okay. Now, the other bass track that I replicated, it still has that original pattern. So you can see here I've got my sub bass, which is extended, and then the other bass track that has the more dancehall feel. So I'm going to get rid of the OTT and the EQ on that one, and I'm going to jump to a serum. I'm going to drag that serum in there instead of the massive, and this one I want it to be a little bit more of an angry bass. They've got a nice like plunk bass, just like out of the box. Audition. Let's just start with that and see. So it's about the sound that I want, and I will make a fresh patch, but I think what I want to do is I'm just going to audition that bass real quick. Had a little bit of a mistake there, but let's give that a go. And all right. Again with the Quantize here. I did not play that very well. clearly. I want to bring, because the first part did a nice little riff, I want to do that here too. Nice. Don't forget to save as you go, guys. Don't forget to save. And like my computer is chugging because I'm running the video capture software and an email program at the same time. So now we need some reverb on the clap. Yeah, I'm clipping out here. Now, I'm not too worried about it just yet, but to mitigate that, we just drag our tracks. Let's bring it down by like 2 dB, 3 dB. Cool. So you notice how I'm doing like a little bit of EQing, a little bit of mixing as I go, and this is just because it saves you a ton of work in the long run, right? I used to do this thing where I would bounce out all the stems, and then I would have a completely different session, mix session as to my production session. And now with computer power, I can just mix with all my like VST instruments going at the same time. So now I've got that. Now let's go back and get those ear candy in there, like the chord notes, right? I like that. So I'm just trying to find the best way to resolve it, right? Yeah, so I'm pretty much ready to put that down. So I'm going to duplicate this chord track again because I want to have my chords on a separate thing. I want to have my melody on a separate thing because those will eventually be different instruments. And I know that my drop phrase is going to be a little bit longer than that. So I'm going to bring it out to a full drop length, which is probably 16 bars. This may be too long, but I will work with it after that, right? So now I want to record my melody. And I'm pretty happy with it there. I need some kind of pre-count in there, so I'm just going to bring myself a little bit more love. and I've got that track selected. Here we go. Totally screwed it up already, and that's okay. That's why we have the undo button. That's pretty much it. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make sure that my timing is okay. I want to zoom out to the right one and then hit A, Command U, and it's going to be nice and snapped. That wouldn't be better to resolve on the E. It brings some nice tension. Maybe bring this guy up to the E and then this guy back down to the D. Yeah. And that leaves enough room for the melody to repeat. Because notice how I've got two notes before it even starts. So I'm actually going to just extend this guy all the way to the end. I'm going to select my melody. I'm going to copy it. And I know that it starts here on that very last beat. And now I have it for the whole drop. Sounds really good. Avenger's got some really nice stock leads, so I'm going to stick with leads. I'm going to go grab a lead right now. It's just a matter of cycling through and finding one that fits, and then I will make another one, but I don't want to disrupt my creative flow just yet. That's got some auto on it. Those are fun, but I think I'm just gonna It works for me. It's fine for what I need for right now. Sweet. So I have a nice little tune here. But you know what I haven't done in so long is I haven't auditioned it. I have not auditioned it with the song. So the easiest way to do that is to kind of bring in the vocals mapped the way that they are, stop them, and see how your drop carries over it. So I'm just going to do some light sequencing here. Notice how I haven't done any fills yet. I haven't done any like fancy drums or effects or anything like that. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the body of a song that's going to sound really good with the original vocal, and then have a nice transition that goes from the original vocal into like a whole new drop that wasn't in the original. So let's listen to the vocal here. Just let's listen to the vocal just by itself, and find a place to cut.
Adicto a esa mujer, adicto de su cuerpo y sus labios y su forma en que ella me hace enloquecer. Cuando la vi por primera vez, me provocó mucha timidez. Empezamos como amigos, hoy la quiero en la desnudez. Solo quiero un poco.
So that part might be good to come in after my melody. So what I'll do is I'll probably cut like right there.
Sus labios y su forma en que ella me hace enloquecer. Cuando la vi por
And this is the thing about Andy always likes when I do remixes. Andy is Adre, by the way. He always likes when I do remixes and is kind of like wowed at the fact that I can do this without being able to speak Spanish. But the thing is, music is like math. It is very similar to math, actually, and a lot of it is done the same way. It's very universal. Unless you're getting into some of the real like 6/8 times and stuff like that, but like pop music is fairly universal. So we want to bring in the tail end of that that chorus there, because he does a little trail off there, and then I'm not sure if that's going to be where the build-up is or not, but let's see. Got it. Get it right. Okay, cool. So that's enough for us to go in here and audition whether or not this this remix has any merit. I don't know. I will be as surprised as you guys will be if it does. So we'll just kind of we'll give it a go. So I'm just trying to advance my notes to line up to the very end of that. Looks like I got to take a couple more out, eh? Holy smokes. And I will do all the fine-tuning and sequencing later, maybe in part 3, maybe in part 4. I mean, the song construction of this one is like, it's 8 bars, 8 bars, 8 bars. So I'm just going to take all this stuff, duplicate it, get rid of the melody here. And then I know that the melody needs to start there.
Y sus labios y su forma en que ella me hace enloquecer. Su forma en que ella me hace enloquecer.
So that I might take that last note that he sings there and I might change it, which I will show you how to do. But let's just kind of listen to see how we're shaping up so far.
Pensando si estás despierta a las 12. A ver si yo le mando un mensaje, que yo te quiero ver sin molestarte. Desde el día que te conocí, sabía que tú eres para mí. Se me sube la depresión cuando yo no te tengo. Adicto a esa mujer, adicto de su cara y sus ojos, su sonrisa y el color de su piel. Adicto a esa mujer, adicto de su cuerpo y sus labios y su forma en que ella me hace enloquecer.
I mean, compared to the original, which sounds like this, which sounds very Latin, this is quite a bit different, right?
Estoy adicto de ella, no puedo mentir.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot of merit to it. So there's a couple different things that we could do there. Like, it goes right into the drop. The bass doesn't change. Like, it's very kind of plain and boring. So the next video will be kind of the mixing of it. So I might need to take some time to sequence this out and add some drum fills and stuff like that. So I might do kind of like a part 2.5. just because I'm running out of time here. But that's the basis, right? We have chords, we have a drop melody that we like. It might not be the synth that we want, but we've got a drop melody that we like. We know that it fits together. It transitions from his singing to the melody fine because it's in the same key. We ripped off a little bit of Fields of Gold, but it's okay. And I mean, really, we have the bare bones of a remix here, right? At this point, it's now all adding ear candy sequencing. So I will do probably another video on that. Thanks so much for tuning in, you guys. Make sure you head on over to Adre's page. Check out Addicto on YouTube. He's available on Spotify. Links are in the description. Appreciate your support. Smash the like button, subscribe button for more of these videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.